Stereo miking is an improvement over mono miking because it provides a sense of the sound field from left to right, a sense of depth or distance between each instrument, a sense of distance of the ensemble from the listener, a spatial sense of the acoustic environment, the ambience, or the whole reverberation. Stereo means the reproduction of our normal, natural listening experience in 3D. It can be done with more than one channel audio at different levels of approximation and quality. The stereophonic sound has become very popular with the invention of the two-channel stereo, and even more so now we are heading towards a 3D sound recording and spatial audio music and applications. So the relevance of stereophonic recording techniques in two channels or multiple channels is very high in these days. The key techniques are coincident pairs, including X and Y, MS, and Bloomline, spaced pair, near coincident pair, and baffle omni pair or artificial head. This microphone is an exception, but this one is actually a stereo mic, so it's showing you a coincident pair, and it is actually the X and Y. So the X and Y, you need to have the two capsules as close as possible, and they form a 90-degree angle. In stereophonic technique, you use normally a bar like this. It sits there. Normally you want to have a larger one, depending on which of the type of microphone techniques you're doing. Then your microphone gets located here, like this, and the other microphone located here, like that. In this way, you basically are creating, capturing the sounds from two different positions, and the bar helps you to position it exactly according to the different coincident techniques. So, for example, one coincident technique could be the X and Y that we saw before, and of course is not. Let's remove this thing so you can see it properly. So X and Y, they should be a 90-degree angle, but as you can tell, this should be a 90-degree angle, but you want to use the bar, and that's why it's very handy to move this microphone a little closer, because the capsules of the two mics, they need to be almost touching, almost, not entirely touching. And if you point these two microphones towards the source, they are able to get a sense of a bigger, wider space between the sources of the sound. That's the XY. Another technique that we can use is the space pair. This is kind of a small space pair, so it doesn't do much. The more the space between the microphone, the more the sense of the stereophonic sense and the specializations, the more the sense of space between the sources. However, it can be also too wide, that it gets exaggerated too much. This is called the AB, and you can also have a baffled. You can put something in between the two mics to create a baffle omni pair. Obviously, you have to use capsule omni, and in this case of this microphone, they are not, so you will use another type of microphone. A coincident pair consists of two directional mics mounted. The grills are nearly touching, but with their diagonal angle apart in such a way that they are aimed approximately towards the left and right side of the ensemble. Another type of microphone is the Bloomline array, and the Bloomline is a stereo setup, is a coincident stereo technique that uses two bidirectional microphone angle and 90 degrees at each other. So instead of using this type of configuration, you will use two types of microphones that are the one like the AKG that allows you to set the bidirectional microphone. What's a bidirectional microphone? We saw it before. So let's talk about the coincident positioning of the Bloomline. For the Bloomline, we are using the AKG because they allow us to have a pattern of figure of 8 or figure of 8. Remember, on the sides it doesn't pick up, it picks up a lot on the back and on the front. If you put these two coincident as much as you can, so I will need to probably lower or find a different type of stand that allows us to be closer, because this plastic thing creates a gap, so we need to maybe place them a little one lower than the other, like something like this. Let's see if I can do it. something like this so that you can get it as close as possible, the capsules. But you put them at 90 degree, okay? And once you put them at 90 degree, by using the pattern not cardioid, not omni, but figure of 8, you obtain the classic Blumlein stereophonic that picks up the front but also the back. So this is very good when you want to record, for example, a choir around it, and we can test it in our recording.